Thanks everybody for coming on our podcast again. This is Tim Lee, CEO and co-founders of LendAPI. It's our new season, episode 3. Today we have Jeeda. Um, I'm gonna give her the opportunity to talk all about herself and her company. I had the chance of meeting her in New York City about a month ago, so I extended the invitation, and she's given us time today. So, welcome Jeeda, welcome Block Equity. Happy Thursday. We're almost made it through this week. What's going on?
Hey Tim, thank you so much for having me. Happy Friday, Junior. It really
Friday
was such.
Eve.
Sorry, tell me.
Friday Eve. That's what we call it.
Friday Eve, exactly. It really was such a pleasure meeting you in New York, and thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about me, about Block Equity Group, and just have a fun
Yeah.
conversation.
Yes. I sort of snooped on your profile. It's very mysterious. International school, some work with the UN group as well. Maybe we'll start there. Who are you, Jeeda? Tell us about your background, upbringing.
Perfect. So I'll give you the whole rundown. I'm actually originally Syrian. I was born and raised there for the first 10 years of my life. And then throughout my entire life, I've lived in 9 different countries so far, and hopefully still counting. And the reason being is my mom has actually pursued her entire career basically with the UN. She's going up on about 35 years with the UN.
Wow.
So we got to live in a few different countries because of that. My dad is also an entrepreneur. So just growing up, I was exposed to kind of both worlds of business and the humanitarian side of things, and then just
Right.
literally getting exposed to the entire world in terms of like different cultures, different schools, different people, just constantly moving. So
Yeah.
that was pretty fun. Up until I was like 18. So I did the International Baccalaureate in Egypt. I was in international schools most of my life. And when I did the International Baccalaureate in Egypt, I decided I kind of like this moving lifestyle and I wanted to pursue it for myself also. So I decided to go to school in Amsterdam, University of Amsterdam.
Uh-huh.
And
That's
I
four
studied
countries. I'm counting already, but go on.
and I studied psychology over there. And I actually thought that I wanted to become a therapist because ever since I was a kid, I always had this like passion for helping people, and psychology was something that was super interesting to me. I studied it in IB also. So I was like, I think I want to pursue this a little further, and I ended up studying it at university. Funny enough, it
Hmm.
was also a big part of why I wanted to pursue psychology was because it was like far away from numbers. My dad is an engineer, my sister's an engineer. They wanted me to kind of follow the same path, but
Right.
I was like, no, I'm not really into numbers and physics, and then I ended up in finance, in New York finance. How crazy is that? So plot twist there, but yeah, I did my bachelor's in psychology at the University of Amsterdam, and then right after school, I got an internship with the UN. It was a PR and marketing internship, and I thought that I just wanted to pursue that kind of career path, and I moved
Right.
to New York with that internship. And then a little bit after, I was introduced to Block Equity Group through a personal referral, and I was introduced to the 2 co-founders, and I really liked the environment. And even though it was like a lot of numbers, and they told me from the jump, like, listen, this is like finance. You're getting into the nitty gritty of numbers. You're like very client facing. It's literally numbers all day long. And I
Right.
was like, I don't know, guys. I'll like give it a go. And so I was kind of there on like a trial basis for a month to see if I liked it. I loved it, and now almost 2 years later, we're still here. So,
Right. We're missing about 3 or 4 countries. Maybe that was your UN career. Um, where else have you lived?
so I've lived in Jordan, Germany, Italy, Tunisia, and Egypt.
Okay, and you're able to speak about 4 or 5 different languages? I'm just guessing
So
here.
I speak English and Arabic fluently, a little bit of French, a little bit of Dutch from going to school in the Netherlands.
Right.
And my sister and my dad are fluent in German, so I can kind of like pick up on a few words here and there.
My word. When was the last time you visited Syria?
It's been over 10 years. It's been like 12 years. The last time I was there was like 2013, 2014.
Right. Well, we all read the news, from one extent to another. Uh, I'm thinking it's probably a different Syria than when you left it. Although you were 10, probably has some memories then, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
definitely do have some memories there. I used to have some family there, but thankfully now family's kind of like all over and they're doing a little bit better. I still have some friends there. They tell me the good and the bad. And
Sure.
actually, a couple of our team members here happen to be Syrian too, but they
Oh,
were
wow.
like born and raised here, still go back and forth.
Sure.
And I hear some good stories. I hear it's
Yeah.
things are starting to look up, and hopefully that is the case.
I haven't been. I've seen pictures. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Jordan, haven't been either. That's like just such a historic place as well. Um, yeah, is there a big expat community in New York City of Syrian?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
is that where it's at? Okay, great.
There's a lot
Um,
of Syrians that moved here maybe like two, 3 generations ago, and it's like a whole community of Syrians. And then
right,
there's some that moved here more recently because of the war, and those are like born and raised there, and then they just live
sure.
here now.
So it just keeps the culture going, right? Whether
Yeah.
you're two, 3 generations Asian American, but identify yourself as Syrian Americans, or brand new immigrants that's coming in and discover a new way of life, or finding a new way of life.
And
That's
next
awesome.
time you're in New York, we definitely have to take you for some Syrian food.
My God, thank you so much. I had another guest coming on yesterday from New York City as well. We just got that episode out this morning, and he's like, "Oh, when you get here, we'll take you out to the best Indian places." I'm like, "I'm all set
Perfect. We're on
for
a
the rest of my
food
life."
tour.
Very well. I had a chance to visit your office, and the energy is palpable. There's pets running around, people ringing bells. I'm assuming that made a deal. It's really fascinating to see a group of I could probably say that young people putting business together, making it happen. I know Block Equity was introduced to you through a personal friend, and you said it was a trial basis, but now you're a partner in a short span of a year or two. What happened there? Did you want this job?
Honestly,
Yeah.
the progression and just the entire journey has been nothing short of insane in the best way possible. So,
Yeah.
when I first joined, I told you it was a little bit more of like a trial basis. I wanted to see if I liked it, and then I really did. I feel like psychology and sales kind of mesh perfectly together because you really understand people. I understand their
Right.
emotions, I understand what they're scared of, and I'm dealing with business owners all day long. So it's like
Right.
being client facing is not something I'm scared of. I love talking to people. I can talk
Right.
to people.
Right.
And then to make it even better, as I mentioned, like I always had this passion for helping people, and I feel like this is truly my calling in a way because I'm helping business owners. These are their livelihoods, and
Right.
I talk to business owners all day long. They're like, "This is how I'm gonna feed my family. This is how I'm gonna build a legacy," and they have like all these ideas and everything, and you can see how you're making an impact in real time. So it really is truly wonderful, and we help business owners all day long, and ones that are in situations that they never kind of saw a way out of, where they'll be in insane amount of debts, and not the kind of debt you want to be in, not the
Right.
kind of debt that you can like find a way out of. They find themselves in
Right.
these kind of like black holes and they don't see a way out of it, and through our advisory, we're able to get them on better plans. We're able to get them some sort of refi. We're able to show them the light at the end of the tunnel, and it truly makes a huge, tremendous difference in their business. And then they love us, and they're just like, we become top of mind for them. We have that relationship with them. The relationship is super important.
That's
And
great.
yeah, so in terms of the journey itself, I feel like aside from being someone that's like super passionate about helping people and also really being client facing and having those kind of conversations and learning, I'm also a very competitive person. So when I first joined, I was like, I really want to become their number one sales rep. I'm going to do it in a very short period of time. And I think by like month 2 or 3, I was already their number one producer. So I was kind of on the co-founder's radar, like, okay, this is our rising star for now. And because it was an industry that I've never experienced before, like I went into this industry with zero previous finance experience, and I was just asking them a million questions, and I'm super
Right.
grateful to the both of them, and I really am lucky to call them my partners now. But before, I would be like that person that's like constantly in their office, like, okay, but what does this mean? And what does this mean? And what's a UCC filing? And how can
Right.
we get through this? And all of that stuff. And it's definitely been a journey, and they were never ones to turn me away, and they were never ones to make me feel stupid for asking a certain kind of question. They were never ones that didn't empower my growth in any sort of way. They were always in my corner, and they had my back, and I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah, I met him as well, right? Fun-loving people. I asked a lot of dumb questions while I was in your office as well, and they always had a smile on. Are you still craving to work the floor again, talk to the business owners? Maybe you're still did that today, closing calls and things like that, or are you kind of removed from it and work on more technology and process and all that stuff? What's your day-to-day now?
So it's a little bit of everything. It's funny. I'm kind of like embedded in everything, and there's this like running joke of like, is Jeeda even a human at this point? Because like I have hands in everything. I have hands in marketing. I have hands in tech. I have hands in
Right.
AI implementation. I have hands in hiring. I have hands in sales. I'm like doing a million things at the same time, but like I'm young. I'm building my career. I want to get exposed to as many different verticals of the business as possible, and thankfully I have like the autonomy and the like free range to actually explore all of
Right.
these interests, figure out what I like for myself. I
Right.
still love the sales side,
Yes.
and I get a lot of our reps, they come up to me and they're like, oh, let's work on this deal together, or I need help closing this, or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be. So I'm still very much involved in a sales capacity, and I love doing it.
Yeah.
It's very much like putting a puzzle together, like talking to the client, figuring out what the best solution for them is, figuring out how to get them the best solution if they're not eligible for it. So I do love that part of the business. But at the same time, obviously, with the way that technology is progressing and the way that this AI race is going, I
Yeah.
really want to be involved with that stuff too. So I'm almost like with our CEO, our AI consultant, and we're just figuring out every single way in which
Yeah.
we can incorporate AI into the company to make us a lot more efficient. And it's crazy, but I never thought I would be a finance bro. I never thought I would be a tech bro, and now I'm both of these things.
You're
So
both. You're missing a vest in ELC to walk around. Well, you certainly earned the respect of the team because you were on the ground floor doing the calls, right, grinding it out, doing the numbers. That's why you're, well respected in the office, and everybody wants you to be on the deal because you can probably give them a higher probability of closing. How many small business owners, small businesses have you helped, have Block Equity helped to get through um, a bind or a period that they just need some additional capital to get through the holiday season? Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. Our audience love numbers too.
I would say over the past few years, definitely in the tens of thousands. And in terms of volume, just because we did the numbers up until last year, and it was like 370 million in, like, more or less in terms
That's
of funding.
incredible, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just guessing, on average, people probably come back to you for some refinancing opportunities, maybe a second hand to the well, right, to help them grow.
It's funny because I mentioned relationships in the past and how we're very relationship centered.
Right.
80% of our clients are actually repeat clients, and we love that stat, and we're
Right.
very proud of it, because once you show someone that you do right by them once, they never want to talk to anyone else again. And it's like they're trusting you literally with their baby. Like
Right.
their business is their baby, and they're like, I want someone that I can trust and someone that will do right by me, and not someone that's just trying to get a deal done. So 80% of our customers are actually coming back to us for seconds, whether it's a refi or a totally different product, or just advisory in general. Like, I have clients bringing something to me being like, Jeeda, do you think this is legit? And it's like something maybe completely not related to what we're working on, but they trust you that much that they're bringing things to you. And then other clients that are sending me pictures of their dogs, and I send pictures of my dog back, so
We got to bring that dog on camera.
she's somewhere
he's
right
around.
here.
Yeah.
By
Well,
the end of it, she'll probably jump in.
yes, I love to see her again. Well, like I love these stories, and our audience love these stories as well. I mean, without divulging too much information, do you remember a situation where the business owner is literally at the end of their ropes, right, and calling you guys was their last sort of a resort, and you were able to help them out or help her out, and now they're X, Y, and Z and successful? Give us some tearjerkers.
Yes, I actually have a few different examples. I'll
Yeah.
start with one that was a little bit heartbreaking to me because it was one of my clients, so that one hit close to home.
Right.
But this is one of my clients that I got. Actually, do you see Ella in the background?
Well, there you go. There you go. There she is.
So it was one of my clients that I got when I was still on the floor, just a BDR, didn't have a team,
Right.
and it was a trucking company, and I had gotten them an SBA loan. It was a great time. It was like a smaller SBA loan, it was a micro loan. So, and comparatively to the numbers that they were doing, it didn't move the needle that much, but they were still super grateful. It was like a 10-year term, monthly payments, a great product. Anyway, they get funded for that, and now every 90 days you're eligible for renewals. And I was just staying on top of the file and checking up on the business owner and all of that stuff. And then I had learned that he had ended up in the hospital, racked up a lot of credit card debt, and his credit tanked. So when time came for renewal, the situation became a little bit more challenging because his credit is now in a worse spot. So I was able to get him financing to cover that credit card debt and just do a process called a rapid rescore, so that we force his credit score to update faster than just waiting for the full cycle to go through.
Yep.
And then once his credit went back up, we were able to go back into processing for another SBA loan and got him a better and larger round. So that's one
That's
example.
crazy. Why did he needed that micro loan, the first loan from SBA? What was the reason for it?
So the first microloan was because when he had first built the trucking business, he
Right.
was the one that's like always on the road. He was an owner, but an operator also. And
Right.
then as he expanded his fleet, he wanted to hire more people. So
Right.
he put a down payment on a new truck, hired another person, and was just in the process
Needs
of
a little bit of
expanding.
capital to get through. Right. Wow.
Exactly.
And what does he do now? A couple more trucks, you think?
A few more trucks for sure. They put on it's funny because now we've had multiple different transactions. We helped him set up a factoring facility. We've helped him get more dollars on like 2 more rounds of SBA funding. And we also got him like a 2-year term loan, so like non-SBA product.
Right.
And one of his bigger clients, that was like he was having a hard time because they were such a large client. They would have like the net 30, 60, and 90 days.
Yep.
So he would do the work and he wouldn't get paid for it for a really long time. So the
Okay.
factor really helped.
Right.
And then after that was done with the factoring situation, we were able to get him more dollars to help stabilize
Wow.
his cash flow, and he was able to put on more clients. So that was an
That's
exciting time.
Wow. I mean, that's the whole story, right? A budding entrepreneur he was doing himself, saw the opportunity, expand his team, doubled in that case, got into a little bit of a personal bind. You were able to help him out to restructure his personal credit so you can, get him a little bit more to get him out of the hospital and get back on his feet. Now he's growing with bigger clients, and that account receivable takes a little bit longer to get paid. So but you were able to help him bridge that gap as well. That's like the whole small business life cycle. That's great. You got another one for us? Maybe someone that you actually met in person, potentially?
Um, we do meet a lot of our clients in person because we also work nationwide. Some of the
Okay.
clients are just like kind of all over, and when they happen to be in town, we'll definitely meet them.
Oh,
But there's,
right.
yeah, I was actually just down in Florida recently just because I love being in Miami every now and then.
Cool.
Who doesn't? But I ended up doing like 2 to 3 site visits because there was a few of my clients that were down there and I just wanted to say hi to.
Wow.
And one of them that comes to mind, it's so, obviously with the political landscape and how things are changing, the SBA dialed back their rules on lawful permanent residence. So it became almost impossible to get some of our green card clients SBA loans.
Right.
So this one client particularly comes to mind. We were able to help them with bridge dollars. They had huge payroll expenses coming up, and they're a aesthetics clinic. They had huge payroll expenses coming
Yeah.
up, and they just needed like 100 to 200,000 to just kind of cover the gap. So we were able to help them secure that. Then we got them a conventional term loan to extend the term a little bit longer and
Yeah.
just help their cash
Bridge them a
flow.
little bit more. Wow.
And then the plan was to eventually get them an SBA loan, but obviously with the way that the political landscape is just constantly changing, we couldn't do it. So it was kind of heartbreaking because we were halfway through the process, and then the rule came out and it was like, okay, yeah, you couldn't really do it anymore. So that sucked, but I told them, listen, as an immigrant myself and as someone that understands your situation, we're not just gonna leave you, here. We're gonna figure it out. And we were able to get them onto a different platform that was like investor heavy and people that really understood their mission and just helped facilitate that investor relationship. And then now they're kind of in process for that, and they're looking to get a lot more than the SBU is willing to give them. So it's
This is crazy. I mean, if there's any politicians or any policymakers listening to this podcast, come on, guys. You know, like the owners might be immigrants, but the employees are Americans. Okay, so what are we talking about here? You know, yeah. Well, that's a different podcast, but that's wonderful that you were able to take some time from your vacation to go see customers that were in need, uh, and sometimes, you know, is out of our hands, but you were able to help them out anyway. That's why people call you and say, hey, you know, even if Block Equity couldn't offer you anything, you will find something for them to kind of get through.
I feel like I really live by if there's a will, there's a way. And even if it has to be 9, 10 p.m. and I'm looking for a local credit union in your area that's willing to take a chance on you, I'm going to do it. And then, you know what, next time a different Block client comes through and they happen to be in that same area and we already have that bank relationship, great. But if it happens to be that it's just to serve that client, I'm still more than happy to do it.
That's crazy. Let's let's shift your finance bro and AI bro hat around a little bit, and let's talk about what you've studied. And you know, I have folks, entrepreneurs on my podcast. Most of them are, and we always wish that we can talk about founders' mental health a little bit. And you met a lot of those. You are one yourself now, and you're basically working with founders and entrepreneurs all day, every day. What's happening in the world? What's going on? What is people's psyche, psychology now, working in the environment we're working on? High inflation, you know, payroll issues. Lots of states are undergoing massive changes in taxation, maybe even medical coverage and things like that. What's on people's mind that you see, either as an entrepreneur or a small business owner, that we should be aware of? And if you have any techniques to get us through the day, we're all ears.
I'll give you a few different perspectives.
Okay.
I feel like from an employee's perspective, if you're young and trying to get established, or maybe you haven't had that much work experience, you know, and you're fresh out of college, or this is your second work experience, or whatever the case may be, obviously you're going to be a little bit wary. You might have, you know, the ups and downs, the feeling like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if this is my passion. I don't know if this is my calling. But for that person, what I will say is just whatever it is that you're doing, do it at 110%, even if it's not truly your calling. Like, I had a bit of an opportunity in between the UN internship and Block that I knew wasn't my calling, but I'm like, while I'm there, I'm still going to be number one. I'm still going to give it my 110% because I want to look back and be like, I delivered as best as I could, and if that person didn't see me for how valuable I am, then that's on them. It's not on me. I still, you know, proved myself. I did rise through the ranks. I did everything I could, and then, you know, the rest figures itself out. So that's what I would say to that person. And obviously, given the times that the times that we're in, whether it's economic difficulties, whether it's economic, constantly changing situations, politically, economically,
Sure. Or layoffs headline every day, right? It puts a lot of pressure on young
in
people.
every sense of the word.
Yep.
It's tough, but I feel like if you're the kind of person that just kind of puts their head down and works, then you will get what you want. Like, I truly believe it as someone, listen, I always had it in my head that I was gonna end up in New York. I wanted to come to school here, but my parents were like, we're not sending a 17-year-old 14 hours away from us where they're practically like somewhere we can't really reach them if we needed to and there was an emergency. So, but I always had it in my head, like, I'm gonna be in New York. I could like visualize my skyscraper apartment. I could visualize like all the things I wanted. And if you're that person that has an idea in their head and just goes after it, no matter what noise is around you, you're gonna be able to dial out that noise and go after what you actually want and achieve it one day. Maybe it's gonna take you 2 years, maybe it takes you 6 years, but if you're consistently going after what you want, you're gonna be able to get it regardless of what the environment around you is. But then the second point to that, and that's kind of the founder and entrepreneur point that I have, environment's the most important thing. Environment truly is the most important thing, especially when you have a lot of noise around you, whether it's people being like, oh my God, a recession's coming up, or it's like, oh my God, Trump's gonna get everyone deported, or it's, oh my God, the next administration is gonna bring this country into doom, or whatever the case may be. Like, there's always gonna be noise. There's always gonna be people saying bad things and just harping on, whatever that negative fact they could grab that day. So I would say the most important thing is that you have a solid support system, and sometimes it might not be the people you think it is. Like, maybe if you're someone that has huge dreams and your family doesn't necessarily understand that, or your partner doesn't necessarily understand that, that's totally okay. You might want to join a founders and entrepreneurs group chat, or you might want to go to a networking event, or whatever. Someone that doesn't think that your dreams are too crazy, and someone that actually supports your delusion a little bit. Because like, you talk to entrepreneurs all day long and there is a little bit of delusion, but when that delusion becomes your actual reality, people are like, oh my God, wow, you made it. And it's like, yeah, okay, but 2 years ago you thought I was crazy for having these thoughts. So you definitely need to be very mindful of your environment, and I'm super grateful for mine, because I could go to like Mike with the craziest idea and be like, this is what I was thinking, and it's like a Saturday night at like 9 p.m. and he's like, no, I think this is a great idea, like, let's try it. What's the worst thing that could happen? And it's kind of like, you have to live life like it's an improv class, like, just yes, and what's the next step? And never like shoot someone's idea down, never make them feel like they're stupid. Like, if you're that person that's in a position of power, then you need to try to empower other people and not make them feel like their questions are dumb, and not make them feel like their ideas are dumb, and try and play with it, like, go along with it, see what ideas they have, try to implement, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but you learned a lesson, and if it does work out, then things look up for everyone.
Right. So as founders, you want to sort of give back a little bit, right? Any budding entrepreneurs coming with some crazy ideas, you want to sit down and give them some time, or her time, to kind of, cultivate that idea, cultivate that delusion, if you will. That's awesome. Have you ever thought about going back and teach? I mean, I guess, teach entrepreneur class, maybe at NYU or something like that?
It's funny. Actually, one of our reps here actually was able to make an introduction to a professor at her school, which is like either the #1 or the #2 entrepreneurship school in the States, Babson College.
Oh, sure, Babson College, of course.
Yeah. So she made an introduction. She said, like, one of the partners of the company, here's her story. She's super young. She made it. Like, I feel like it would be, beneficial for the students to hear from her. So she set that up. It was wonderful. I was super grateful for her setting it up. And then I was able to go and teach a class. And it really went a long way, because I had a few people afterwards reach out and say it was super inspirational. We had a few people that wanted like working opportunities with Block because of the talk. And then we had the professor reach out maybe like a semester or two after to be like, can you actually teach a class? So I taught a class on Zoom for like 2-3 months, give or take. It was like once or twice a week, and it was super interesting, because I wasn't like necessarily teaching entrepreneurship, but I was like teaching sales and sales principles and how it applies to Block Equity Group, which I feel like, if you're maybe like right now, second to AI, sales is the most important skill you can learn in your life, because it's super transferable. You can use it for literally whatever, and if you can talk to people, if you can sell them something, if you can sell them on you, if you can sell them on your idea, there's no stopping you. So I do enjoy that aspect too. I think I definitely would, and it was actually on my goal list for this year to do a little bit more on the teaching side.
There you go. Please do. If anybody's listening, please give her a shout out. With all that interaction with the students, younger people, how do you help young people, going back to your first point about helping entrepreneurs, stay locked in? There's so much influencing going on. There's so much, I want to say some noise, negativity, whatever it might be, news cycle and things like that. How do you stay locked in, first and foremost? How do you help young people to stay off of certain platforms and locked in, really develop their career, and do that 10,000 hour proverbial sort of just you got to grind it out and learn it? How do people keep sane nowadays?
Honestly, I would say it's a little bit of a balancing act, but the way that you can do it is by modeling it yourself first. I have a little brother, so this hits close to me, like it's very close to home, and I Love him. He's someone that is super sharp, super bright, but he's also only 16, 17 years old. So he's also very moldable. He spends a lot of time on TikTok and Instagram. And I've had conversations of like, okay, listen, like this like TikTok millionaire mentality or like the Instagram sell a course type, like those are not the people that are really making money. And like, that's not what you want to be and all that stuff. But you can sit there and say that to a person or a teenager all day long. But if they see you on TikTok all day long or they see you on Instagram, guess what? They're going to do the exact same thing because they're just emulating whatever behavior you're doing. But my brother was watching me read a book while I was on vacation with them. He was watching me work all day long while I was on vacation with them. He was watching me take phone calls with clients. He was watching me do all that stuff. And then at some point he was like, oh, actually I deleted Instagram and now I'm reading this, and this book that you recommended.
Wow.
So I think it comes down to the kind of people you surround yourself with. And if you find yourself, like as a young person, my advice would be if you find the people around you doing the things that you don't think are pushing you towards your goals and where you want to be, then again, you kind of need to change that environment. And I know it sucks. I'm not saying your friends are bad. Your friends are definitely great people and you want to see them 1 to 2 times a week. But the people you want to be spending the majority of your time with are the people that are pushing you closer and closer to your goals. And that could be the person you met at the networking event, or it could be the person you met playing pool and they said to you, oh, they're working on starting a new business, or whatever the case may be. It could be someone you met totally out in the wild and they had a crazy story of a business that they started. Like, it could be your family member. Our 2 co-founders are cousins. They literally started this like as a family venture. So it's like, I know that those people are around you. You just need to find them and like hunker down and really get obsessed with the goal, get obsessed with the vision, and then you're gonna get there.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you for creating that environment for your brother. So lucky of him to see to see a big sister crushing it, owning it, locking in. Back to the relationship business, which is what Block Equity is in some ways. There's the money business, but it's a relationship business. How do you balance automation, AI, and relationship, right? And your customers are probably busy all day long, probably don't have a whole lot of time to spend with you guys to talk about terms and conditions. What do you find the balance there? What's the next step for Block Equity to bring in more technology to help you guys in the back office and maybe interfacing with your clients and bring that relationship even forward further?
So me and our CEO are very AI forward, and I said we love this stuff, we want to implement it in every way we can, but then one of our managing partners is very like, no, I want the people to be the face of the people. I want it to be a human and human interaction, and I want AI to be involved in some sort of capacity, but still make it very human forward. So thankfully we kind of found that beautiful, like, balance, exactly, because probably if it was up to me and the CEO, we'd just be completely robots by now. Not really, because obviously we still have the people around us and they're great people, and it's just the AI is only going to push us forward. But at the same time, I feel like definitely still having that human touch is super important. So what we've been doing is on a lot of the internal stuff and a lot of like the admin work, like no one really likes doing the admin work, or no one really likes doing the bookkeeping, like all of that stuff that can be very easily automated and is like a tedious task. So a lot of that has been shifted over to AI agents that have been handling that, and it's been handled very smooth. It's being handled very smoothly, knock on wood, so far. So we're doing a great job. And by the same logic, we have put some new partnerships in place, one of which we're super grateful that you guys are involved in too, where it's like, you can implement other tech and build out other platforms where you're still doing a lot of, it's still person-on-person interaction because we're building a platform together, and that's only going to further the Block platform more, because it's going to make our doc collection process less tedious, and it's going to help the client, because instead of the client having to send me an email 3 times for a document, or having to text it and then email it or whatever, it's all like done automatically. So, but then at the end of the day, if the client's freaking out, guess what? They're not going to send an email and be like, hey, Jeeda, I'm freaking out. They're picking up the phone and they're like, Jeeda, this is what I need. And at that point, I'm going to pick up and I'm going to have the conversation. And so it's still very client facing. But then for all the tedious tasks and the things that we can be doing better, we're always looking at how we can become more efficient and how we can make our processes better.
What was the craziest technology bet you guys put into place in the last couple of years? Didn't think it's going to work, but it's paying dividends now. I love hearing stories.
Tim, it's so funny. So I actually was in California, And it was me and Michael working on something. He was in New York, I was in California, and we were like back and forth on this AI agent that we were building together that he was doing most of the building for, honestly, but I was just like, you know, helping and giving ideas and everything. He's the mastermind. So we're back and forth and everything, and I'm at a bar, but it was just like, beautiful scenery, and I'm like sitting there with my laptop, and the bartender looks at me and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm working." And he's like, "It's 7 p.m. Let me guess, are you from New York?" And I was like, "Yeah, work doesn't sleep. I'm sorry." And like we're just back and forth, and then he goes, "So like, what are you actually doing?" And I'm like, "We're building this AI agent." He's like, "What does it do?" And I'm like, "So it starts off by doing this, and then it gets you this document, and then it analyzes it, and then it puts it in a sequence, and like all these things." And he goes, "Holy crap, that's literally someone's job." And I'm like, exactly. So just having that happen like in real life, and just seeing the progression of like one day being like, "Oh my God, this is actually like A to Z what someone can do," and now it's all being done by a robot, is kind of crazy. And it's keeps getting better. Like when we first built it, it was like maybe had 2 functions, and now it has 16 different functions, and it analyzes the responses, and it responds very well. And sometimes it sounds more like me than me, and it's crazy.
That's right. I think I was listening to Joe Rogan, one of his guests literally loaded his friends, YouTube channels, conversations, all that stuff in there, and he made him into a bot. So every time he asks a question to that friend that's not available at the moment, the bot will respond. It just sounds just like the friend. It's so crazy. But back to the bot that you guys built, we're not replacing folks, right? That person that was doing that job can now be elevated to be on the phone with a client to talk finer points. All that tedious things, like you said, is all automated, which
And
nobody wants to do to begin with anyway.
it's exactly that. Like no one has been replaced. It's just people's jobs are now a lot more enjoyable because a lot of the tedious tasks they're no longer having to do. So
Right. Yeah. Well, if you can't build one for me, I'm done.
let's
Put
do
me
it.
out of my
Let's
misery.
do it.
But this is great. I mean, like, um, people at the end of the day is still what builds, my company, your company. When you're hiring a new person, what are you looking for today? Like in today's sort of AI world, what is that one thing that you're still looking for that person to kind of join Block Equity to make a difference? I know you talk about AI, you talk about sales, but what are some of the other characteristics, natures the person should have?
It's funny because we were actually recently having a conversation about this as like the perfect Block Equity Group hire, because I told you like I'm still very involved on the hiring side also, and we were kind of like figuring out the perfect prototype of the people that have been here and are doing very well and what that looks like. And honestly, it can look very different person to person, but something that's super important is character and culture fit. So character is like someone that's coming in, maybe they're young, maybe they're not, but the one thing they have in common is that they're here to learn, they're here to build their career, they're hustlers, and they just want to grow in every sense of the word. Like I have people that have came through and that are like, okay, I want to learn more about commercial finance. I want to learn more about personal finances. I want to learn more about what books you're reading. I want to learn more about what your workout routine is, whatever the case may be, but we're just pushing each other forward, and that's the kind of environment you want to be in. And I'm super grateful for my 2 partners that are always very like culture forward. They're like, the person could be the top performer at a whole other company that's like a competitor of ours, and even if they're number 1, but if they're not a culture fit to us, they don't have a place here, because culture is very important, and maintaining that and preserving that culture is super, super important. So definitely being surrounded by like-minded people, so that person that has that same mentality and is always looking to grow and looking to develop themselves in literally every matter of the word, that's very important to us. I would say somewhat of competitive sports in the background, or just having that sort of competitive edge, like someone that was president of their chess club because they're that competitive person, or someone that was super high up on their lacrosse team because they're very good at sports and are super competitive. For like a 17, 18-year-old, or someone that's even younger, to be waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. to go to practice and do that consistently, and not go out drinking with their friends because they have to show up to practice the next day, like that's the kind of dedication you need to be that locked-in person that you were talking about, to do that 10,000 hour rule, to do what you need to do here in order to succeed. So I would say those are a few things we look for.
Wow. I mean, that office I visited is pretty full. Are you guys looking into new real estate, expand a little bit?
I'm I'm really trying to shepherd this, block equity, Florida, Miami idea, but
Oh, okay, well, we heard it
let's
first,
see. Let's
I guess you
see.
can do this job anywhere, and there's clients everywhere anyway.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
and we're constantly expanding. The office is pretty full. We have two offices right now, but who's to say we're not going to have a third location in New York
sure.
City, or just in New York in general, maybe even in New Jersey, just to like cover different grounds.
Right.
And I don't know. I just feel like it's too good of an opportunity. Like I've been through it myself. I've literally built from the ground up, and to just like you spend more time at work than you do at home. So to be around inspirational people, to have a real opportunity where you can make a good amount of money and learn a lot and be surrounded by like-minded people and people that can be your friends and your coworkers but also your mentors, like that's huge. So obviously as many people as we can give this opportunity to and as many
Yeah.
people as we can reach and teach, we'd love to
Yes,
do
a
more.
lot of people crave that in office culture, because that's how you get ideas come across, right? I mean, a cold Slack message doesn't convey anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is a whole different podcast. But for now, though, Jeeda, my God, from Syria to dominating financial services, I can imagine what that um, memoir will look like, 30, 40 years from now. So grateful to meet you. And thank you guys for letting me into your office for a couple of seconds there when I was in New York last time. I'll definitely pay more of a visit next time. But this
Please,
has
we'd
been
love that.
inspirational for me as well. You said a couple of things that made me reflect on uh, my behavior at home with my children and kids. This is really good. This is why I love doing my job as well, to kind of talk to people that can give me something to think about. So, but thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. And if people want to find you, is it blockequity.ai, Block Equity Group? How
It's
do you find you?
yes, it's blockequitygr.com. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram, we're everywhere. You'll be able to find us.
Great.
And Tim,
We'll
I
put,
want to thank you so much, and really, I would love to spend more time with you in New York. We still have to go for Syrian food, so I'm holding you to that.
yes. And
And I've listened to a few different episodes of this podcast, and I've enjoyed every one of them.
oh,
So
thank
thank
you.
you for everything that you do.
Thank you. We're here in Southern California. There's sunshine, beach, mountains. If you ever come out here, made out here, please visit our office as well. It's yours.
I would love to.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you.